In 2007, real estate developers in China had a crazy idea. They were going to build Paris. Not a theme park, but a full-scale, luxury city where people would actually live. They built a 300-foot Eiffel Tower, grand fountains, and massive European apartments, and then nobody showed up. Welcome to Tianducheng, the billion-dollar ghost city that tried to copy the most romantic place on Earth and failed miserably. At the time, the Chinese real estate market was absolutely exploding. Developers had more money than they knew what to do with, and there was a massive trend of copying famous Western architecture. It even had a name, duplitecture. They didn't just want a few nice buildings. They wanted to transplant the exact feeling of the French capital directly into the Chinese countryside. They recreated the famous Champs-Élysées. They built massive townhouses with classic Parisian sloping roofs. They even imported exact copies of the statues and streetlights you would find in France. The vision was massive. It was designed to hold 10,000 of the country's wealthiest people, offering them a slice of European luxury without ever needing a passport. But there was one giant flaw in this grand plan: the location. Tianducheng wasn't built near a bustling city center. It was dropped right in the middle of rural farmland, surrounded by dirt roads and fields. When the grand opening finally happened, the wealthy elites they hoped to attract took one look at the awful commute and passed. There were no jobs nearby, no public transportation, and the apartments were heavily overpriced. So, this sprawling, beautifully constructed fake Paris simply sat there, completely empty. For years, the population hovered around just 2,000 people. But the craziest part was who those people were. It wasn't the rich elite. It was mostly the local farmers who had lived in the area before the city was built. They moved into this bizarre neighborhood and just kept doing what they always did. You had this wild scene where people were hanging their laundry out of fake Parisian balconies and tending to crops right beneath a massive, rusting replica of the Eiffel Tower. Walking through the city during those peak ghost town years was an incredibly surreal experience. It felt like stepping onto a movie set after all the actors and crew had gone home. You had these incredibly wide, majestic roads built for heavy traffic that were completely dead. The paint on the luxury buildings started to peel, and thick weeds grew up right through the cracks in the fancy cobblestone streets. The only time the city saw any real action was when couples drove out from the city to take cheap wedding photos in front of the tower. As soon as the camera flashed, they packed up, leaving the city to its eerie silence once again. Today, the story of Tianducheng has shifted a little bit, but it is still just as strange. A few years ago, a new subway line finally connected this middle-of-nowhere town to the massive nearby city of Hangzhou. Because of the new train station, people finally started moving in. But they didn't come for the fake French culture. They came because the rent was much cheaper than living in the main city. Now, the streets are a bit busier, but the vibe is an absolute mind trip. You'll see traditional Chinese street food vendors setting up their carts right in front of fake European statues. It is a weird, clashing mix of cultures that proves you can build the buildings, but you can't force a culture. Tianducheng will always stand as a fascinating monument to a time when developers thought they could literally buy a piece of Paris. If you enjoyed exploring this bizarre fake city, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We explore the most mysterious and abandoned places on the planet all the time, and you will not want to miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.